Okay. So the name of the chapter is Tools of Financial Statements Analysis, Comparative Statements and Common Size Statement. चैप्टर क्या है हमारा टूल फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एनालिसिस बेसिकली हमारे 4 टूल्स होते हैं ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एनालिसिस दीज आर कंपैरेटिव फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स कॉमन साइज स्टेटमेंट्स अकाउंटिंग रेशियोज एंड द कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट व्हेन वी स्टडी द कॉमन कंपैरेटिव फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स हम यहाँ पे कंपैरेटिव स्टेटमेंट्स बनाएंगे बैलेंस शीट का कॉमन साइज स्टेटमेंट प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस का लेट्स स्टार्ट द क्लास chapter is tools of financial statement analysis, comparative statements and common size statement. So, introduction. So, the basic objective of accounting is to provide information useful for the making decisions. सबसे important accounting का objective क्या होता है? Just provide the financial information for the better decision making. And the uses of financial statements are creditors, shareholders, investors, bankers, governments, public, etc. And these users heavily rely on the financial statement. So it is a serious handicap of financial statements that they do not offer any ready-made solution to the managerial problems. That's why therefore these have to be systematically analyzed in the most accepted universal norms. तभी इसके लिए हम लोग क्या करते हैं? We follow various techniques and tools, and these techniques and tools is have been used by the analysts, by the managers to analyze the financial statements. अब tools कौन कौन से हैं बेटा देखो ये रहा comparative financial statements, common size statements, accounting ratios and the cash flow. First two जो topics हैं, first two techniques हैं like comparative financial statements and common size statements. These two statements we will cover in this chapter. Accounting ratios आपका next chapter आ जाएगा and the cash flow statement will be your last chapter. Now the first is the comparative financial statements. अब comparative financial statements होते क्या हैं? These are the statements which summarize and present relevant and important accounting data for 2 or more periods. हम यहाँ पे क्या करते हैं? हम 2 accounting years के data को summarize करते हैं और उनको compare करते हैं और absolute change find out करते हैं, proportional change find out करते हैं. इसमें क्या होता है? वी आर हैविंग इंट्राफर्म कंपैरिजन एंड इंटरफर्म कंपैरिजन. इंट्राफर्म कंपैरिजन क्या हो गया अभी? When financial statements of 2 or more years of a firm compared, it is known as intra-firm comparison. I repeat, intra-firm comparison क्या होता है बेटा? When financial statements of 2 or more years of a firm, एक ही firm के 2 साल के प्रॉफिट से 2 साल के फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को जब भी हम लोग कंपेयर करते हैं वो होता है इंट्रा. इंट्रा मीन्स within the organization, same organization. अब okay, interfirm comparison. Interfirm comparison क्या होता है? When financial statements of 2 or more firms are compared over a number of years, it is called as interfirm comparison. मतलब जब भी 2 या 2 से more firms के financial statements को हम लेते हैं, that is the intra-firm comparison. Now, objectives of comparative balanced financial statements. Objectives का first objective indicates a trend of profitability. That means हमें यहाँ से क्या पता चलता है? हमें यहाँ से पता चलता है by the comparing the two financial statements of 2 years of the same company or for the other companies, other firms. हमें मालूम चलता है कि हमारा revenue from operations कितना है? What is our total net income? What is the cost of production? Because ultimately cost of production will increase the profit. Then operating and non-operating expenses. Next, direct expenses. Second, हमें पता चलता है it indicates a trend of performance. For example, 2018 में हमारी क्या performance थी? 18-19 में और 19-20 में हमने हमारा performance या increase हुआ कि decrease हुआ? Third is indicates trend. Fourth one is compares the firm's position with the average performance of industries. And the last one helps in making forecast, helps in decision making. Now, what are the importance of comparative financial statements? Importance किसके लिए है? Owners के लिए, creditors के लिए. मैनेजमेंट के लिए और इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए. ओनर्स के लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है? द फर्स्ट इज कंपैरेटिव फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर वेरी यूजफुल टू द शेयर होल्डर्स टू टेक decision regarding continuation or discontinuation of their shareholdings with the company. तो एज एन ओनर एज ए शेयर होल्डर्स इनके लिए फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? जस्ट टू टेक द डिसीजन मेकिंग करना रिगार्डिंग कंटिन्यूशन और डिसकंटिन्यूशन ऑफ द शेयर होल्डिंग्स विद द कंपनी. नेक्स्ट आ गया आपका क्रेडिटर्स. नाउ व्हाई these comparative financial statements are important for creditors? क्यों important है? Because the creditors include suppliers of goods and services and providers of loan capital. They are interested to know the comparative increase or decrease in their claim against the company and the availability of cash and cash equivalents. Next is the management of the company. The management of the company is responsible for the major decision making and the policy makings, plans और policies formulate करती है. The top level management, middle level management and the lower level management. They make comparison of the performance of company to ascertain the effectiveness of their decision. फोर्थ आ गया आपके इन्वेस्टर्स. अब इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए क्यों जरूरी है? व्हाट्स इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ कंपैरेटिव फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स? Existing investors and prospective investors have their interest in comparative financial statements in order to know the profit and liquid status. Means profitability status क्या है and liquid status means हमारे पास कितने liquid assets हैं. Liquid assets होते हैं those assets which can be convertible into cash within a period of specific period. Now what are the limitations of comparative financial statement? Historical records होते हैं, personal judgment is there, and the price level changes is not reflected. Now the first type of comparative financial statement is comparative balance sheet. हम लोग उसमें क्या पढ़ेंगे? Comparative balance sheet and comparative statement of profit and loss. Same thing will go with the common size statement. The first is the comparative balance sheet. So we will do the theoretical part of the chapter along with the practical problems on comparative balance sheet. देखो अब comparative balance sheet क्या होती है? A comparative balance sheet show the balances of accounts, personals and real on different dates and also extent of the increase or decrease between these dates, throwing light on the trend and direction of change in the position over the year. This enables the users to predict the future position of the business. हम लोग क्या करते हैं? हमारे पास एक information given रहती है and on the basis of following information equities and liabilities and assets दिए होंगे. हमने उनको क्या करना है? कंपेयर करना है एक साल के एक ईयर के डेटा वो फाइनेंशियल डेटा को कंपेयर द डेटा द फाइनेंशियल डेटा 1 year विद द फाइनेंशियल डेटा ऑफ अनदर ईयर. फिर हमने चेंज फाइंड आउट करना है, एब्सोल्यूट चेंज बोलते हैं उसको हम लोग. देन उसके बाद हमें प्रोपोर्शनेट चेंज में परसेंटेज में कन्वर्ट करना है. एंड गर्ल्स जो हमारे एसेट्स और हमारे जो लाइबिलिटीज है उनकी अमाउंट हमारी सेम आनी चाहिए. आ जाओ एडवांटेजेस पे. What is the advantage of this method, this comparative balance sheet, this technique? First is the changes. हमें absolute change मिलते हैं in terms of figures. Then simplification, very simple method, simplification है. ज़्यादा इसमें कुछ आपको formula apply नहीं करना, simple method है. Then trend, useful for the users. Now look at the format of comparative balance sheet. This is the format of comparative balance sheet. देखो equities and liabilities. Under equities and liabilities we have shareholders fund. Under shareholders fund we have shareholders, equity share capital, preference share capital and reserves and surplus. Then we have non-current liabilities. Under non-current liabilities we have long-term borrowings and long-term provisions. Third one is your current liabilities. Short-term borrowings, trade payables, other current liabilities and short-term provisions. Now look at the format particulars. Previous year, current year, then absolute change, percentage change. अब फॉर्मूला किससे लगाना है? प्रीवियस ईयर ए, करंट ईयर बी, एब्सोल्यूट चेंज सी इक्वल टू बी माइनस ए एंड लास्ट आपका रो हो जाएगा डी पार्ट, डी इक्वल टू सी अपॉन ए इंटू 100. Now let's move to asset side. Non-current assets. Under non-current assets we have fixed assets, tangible asset and intangible assets. The format हमने we have discussed format in the first chapter also. Now B part, non-current investments, and C is your long-term loans and advances. Now let's move to second part of the asset side, current assets. All the current assets will come under the current assets heading. Current investments are inventories, receivables, cash, equity, short-term loans and advances, and other current assets. So total assets and liability sides will be equal. Now, these are the some of the numericals, illustrations given. इस तरीके से हमने करना है. Like first question is here. देखो, comparative balance sheet without details of major headings. आपको details नहीं दिए यहाँ पे, आपने यहाँ पे सीधे headings बनानी है. Shareholders fund will come under equities and liabilities. Non-current liabilities will come under equities and liabilities. Non-current assets will come under asset side, and current assets will come under again asset side. In this way, you have to draw the format particulars with the previous year figures, then current year figures, then absolute change, A minus B minus A करना हमने, then percentage change, C upon A, absolute change upon the figures of the previous year into 100. अब देखो total of liability sides, total asset sides are equal. In this way, we have to solve the numericals. Now take out a practical problem number 1. We will solve the practical problem number 1 now. Okay, look at question number 1. From the following information, prepare a comparative balance sheet of X and X company. Here, equities and liabilities. Capital 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. Current liabilities 1,70,000 and 2,50,000. Asset side, in your book it is question number 3. New book question number 3. From the following information, prepare a comparative balance sheet of debt limited 2013 and 2014 and 15. Equity share capital 25 lakhs and 25 lakhs. Fixed assets 36 lakhs and 30 lakhs. Reserves and surplus 6 lakhs and 5 lakhs. Investments 5 lakhs and 5 lakhs. Long-term loans 5 lakhs and 5 lakhs each, 15 lakhs and 15 lakhs. Current assets 1,000 Okay. Yes. First is your equities and liabilities. Equities and liabilities. Underline it. First is shareholders fund. Under shareholders fund, we will have share capital and reserves and surplus. So look for the share capital. Share capital 5 lakh 20 lakhs. B minus A nil or proportionate change will be nil. Other part पे reserves and surplus
reserves and surplus. It will be 5 lakhs and 5 lakhs, 5 lakhs and 6 lakhs. Putting the देखो, it is 5 lakhs and 6 lakhs. B minus A 1 lakh. Then 1 lakh 5 lakh into 100 20. आ जाओ सेकेंड नंबर पे. नॉन करेंट लाइबिलिटीज. नॉन करेंट liabilities. Underline. A. Long term borrowings. Long term borrowings कितनी है? 15 lakhs and 15 lakhs. Absolute change nil and last nil. B आ जाओ बेटा. Long term provisions. Long term provisions. Nothing is there. Nil. आ जाओ थर्ड नंबर पे. Current liabilities. Current liabilities. Underline it. Under current term liability we have short term borrowings. जैसा आपका trade again nothing is nil. Then other current liabilities. Other current liabilities. Again nil, nothing is there. Then D part, short term provisions. Short term provisions. क्या है? 5 lakhs and 5,50,000. Difference B minus A 50,000. Then D part, C upon into 100, 50,000 upon 5 lakhs into 100, 10. आ जाओ अभी टोटल पे. Total will be 50,000, 50 lakhs. Then B part 51 lakhs and 50,000. C part C 1 lakhs and 50,000. And the last one 3. Now let's go move to the asset side. Second is assets. And it A part. First one is a non-current assets. Non-current assets. Under non-current assets, we have fixed assets. Underline. Tangible and intangible assets. Tangible assets and intangible assets. After intangible assets, we'll write non-current liabilities, non-current investments, non-current investments. Then C is your long-term loans and advances, long-term loans and advances. Under long-term, nothing is there, dash. Then second part is your current assets, current assets, underline it. A, current investments, current assets आपको दी है क्वेश्चन में, देखो it is 15 lakhs and 10 lakhs and 50,000 minus figure आएगी ये 4 lakhs and 50,000 and minus 30. 4 lakh 50,000 divided by 15 lakh into 100. Then B part is your inventories. Nothing is there. Then C part is your trade receivables. नहीं है. Nothing is there. Then D part is your cash and cash equivalents. कुछ भी नहीं है. Put dash. Then E part is your short-term loans and advances. Then next is your like total करो उसको total of 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 5 lakhs and 15 lakhs. It is 50,000, 50 lakhs, double underline. Then total of the figures of the current year, it will be 51 lakhs and 50,000.